Welcome back to saving all the fleas and completing true ending with as little completion percentage as possible. So now that we saved the big flea, we have a couple other things that we can do starting from this bench. So first off, we're going to head to the Putrified Ducts. We have a couple things we need there. There's a key we need to get there that will allow us into the slab. And there is a location for the fleas, Fletopia, that we need to see, as well as a flea bog. And we're going to need all those things. Plus, we're also going to have to save Jubilana, unfortunately. But this is one of the quest requirements, so we got to make sure we complete this. Pretty straightforward fight. Just a couple flying enemies. We get a few shards in the process, thankfully. And then we also do have a free shard bundle that we pick up here because it's very quick to get. So the Putrified Ducts are a very fun area. It has a lot of fascinating enemies. Not very popular with most players, but for tasks, they're actually great sources of silk because we can just keep pogoing them and then use that silk to do claw lines. A very fun drop here. Those nail knockback turnarounds allow us to continue dropping there, so it's very nice. You can just sneak over this guy. And that gives us the apostate key, which we're going to use in this lab later. And you can stay ahead of this guy just by continuing to claw line. He never catches up. Now we're going to go ahead and save Vogue. And there's a fun little skip that we're going to do here, using that wall to refresh our dash and wings. And then we just have to do our little climb through here. A little bit of enemy assistance. And then on this one we can get a cheeky nail hit as well. Just for a little bit of extra silk. And then that's Fog. And now all we need to do is visit the lake for Fletopia. We do open the spellway because we are going to come back here. Normally you would do Chakra's Trail's End quest as part of a Bilewater visit, but we're not going to do that because we're going to do all of Bilewater during the Fletopia courier delivery. So as a result, we're actually going to do Trail's End from the Bellway there, and we're going to head down and grab it that way. You just have to travel far enough down the path here to set a flag, and then you can exit out. Normally, speedrunners will use a auto-split trigger on that to let them know when it's safe to quit. So now that we've got that done, as long as we're in the area, it makes sense for us to go ahead and complete the melodies and also fight Lace 2. Because we're not really going to have another reason to be back here soon, and we do need to have fought Lace 2 in order for the Silken Soul quest to trigger. So we're going to open this up and do a fun little climb in here. We're going to skip a fair amount of the climb since we have wings. So we're able to use pogos. We have to do some climbing, but a lot of it is skippable. In particular, there's a fun little skip here. Skips basically half the room. And then we go through a nice efficient entry for this sequence. Thankfully, this is a hard-coded sequence, and so you just memorize it and then enter it. And that is the second melody down. So from here, our next melody is going to be in high halls. So we do a drop here, sneak through, and use Snare Setter to do a couple of quick drops. Very fun little drop sequence. We're going to get to do that drop again, although next time we'll have to do it without Snare Setter. First, though, we're going to head over and we're going to clear out the high halls. This opening is open, so we can go through here. We do have a flea to save here that we left behind from earlier. Nice fun little walk up there. Normally you could open a air vent and float up, but much better to just use wings. We're fighting these guys because we need some cloaks. And this is a good moment to take a little detour to grab a few. That guy does not drop a cloak. But this guy up here does. And we make sure to lure him to the left so that his corpse slides up there. And then there is one cloak we can get out of these guys. And then we get an early control. And now we get to do the high halls with wings. Having wings here is very nice. Not something you normally get to have in 90%. But it allows us to skip a lot of the waiting that normally you would have to do. And of course we're trying to use as many claw lines as possible for our movement abilities rather than using them for the hooks when we can. And we do get to do a fun little skip here you might have seen in the other tasks. You can just fit right through there. And now we're going to make our way to the High Halls Arena. This is a very fun fight. I've made a couple tasks of this. This is going to be similar to more like the 80% than the low percent, just because we actually do have Nail 1 and the Evo. And the Hunter Evo means that we're doing pretty much the same damage as we had with Barbed Bracelet and any percent. Fun little deflection of the bell there as part of that kill. But now we have pogo hammers as well, because we have float, whereas the 80% task did not have access to that. So we're actually kind of doing a blend of the low percent and 80%. Now we use Snare Setter here to do quite a bit of damage. Helps to make short work of this guy. We're full on soak, so we can go ahead and leave that bundle there. Line up some nice hits. There we go. Lots of satisfying movement. It's always nice to line up those spears as well, when you can manage to get multiple hits in, like that. And then we're going to set up a Snare Setter for each of them. We just kind of focus on one and then switch to the other one when one of them is going to do an attack that would hit us. And that's it. Pretty easy arena. At least for tasks. And this is our third melody. So now that we have both of these melodies, and we had the one that we picked up earlier, we can go fight Lace 2. This would normally be towards the end of any percent, when we're going to head up and fight Grandmother Silk. But in our case, yeah, very similar drop, but we can't use the Snare Setters. In our case, we're only going to fight Lace. as the prerequisite for the quest later. And then we're going to open the shortcut to the Ventrica. This cutscene takes an eternity when you're watching it frame by frame at 5 FPS. So this fight is going to go pretty fast. We mostly focus on pogo hammers, because those are always good. And that's it. Thank you everybody for watching. I hope you've been enjoying this. This has been a very fun task to work on, and we do still have more stuff to go. We're going to be working on getting to wrap up Act 2 very soon, and pretty soon we'll be in Act 3. We're going to be working on the Mask Maker Courier next, which is going to involve some fun fights, some interesting juggling, and a little bit of a visit to the slab. Thanks, everybody.